Welcome to another Better Than Netflix fantasy football podcast. This week, week 5, has been rather ridiculous with the COVID hitting us pretty hard and some bye weeks because of COVID. So my team, for the lack of a better word, was lacking. So the obscene amount of players that were benched this week due to bye weeks is pretty crazy. But somehow Trevor got almost a league high of 172.1 points, bringing his record to a nice 2-3. Still sits outside the playoffs. Uno Master won. The participants, god damn it, he still won. I was not looking forward to that. Even our own truly, I like turtles, Mike Smith, put himself on a 3-game win streak. Pope with a hat, out a hat. Our lovely Pope, who doesn't wear hats, is also on a 3-game win streak. And Taylor got out of his slump and put a nice 3-2 record on the board, even after all of his waiver wire woes.
Yeah, and a real quick point on that too, right, is that we're recording this obviously Tuesday night, and the final game of this week actually just finished, Tennessee and the Bills.
Yes.
So it just finished. If you were to go on right now, none of the stuff's updated, so we're kind of going off of doing a little bit of math here, which is not our strong suit.
No, so forgive me for any errors or whatsoever, as Mike's been known to make them. So, but no, and it kind of like some strong points this week is I thought Justin had a chance of knocking Derek down, and he's a tyrant. He's putting his reign on him. He convinced me that he never played fantasy football once in his life before last year. The fact he can read at a 5th grade level is impressive. So the beard is weird, and he's still winning. So I'm going to continue to talk shit on him until he loses, and then my shit talking will make sense. So,
especially coming out of the old goose egg, right?
You know, I think it might have to take me beating Derek to knock him off his pedestal right now.
What week is that? I'm going to have to look that up real quick. Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
It better be next week. No, it's not next week. I think it's the following week.
Looking.
No, it's not good. Shoot. But I think I lost to him once already.
12.
It was week 12, so it's the week before the playoffs.
Yeah. Wait, did you play first?
Yeah, I played him opener.
Opener and 12. So you got to go against old Dirk twice.
That just sucks. Kind of interesting.
He better not wait that long to beat him.
No, that's everyone needs to beat him. We should chop him down. I think.
Trades.
Casey.
Everybody
trade. Yeah. You know, Casey's playing Derek this week, so maybe we got to help him out a little bit. But I will say that because we had a Tuesday night game, which I think is an NFL first, is that also our waiver wires are postponed today. So everything we actually talk about is still relevant tomorrow as far as
for the first time.
Yeah. No, relevancy was never our key point in making this.
Or strong suit.
No, whatsoever. And actually, with everything going on last week, some people basically didn't have players. So the scales of like close games that we've been having, we've had I think 60 or 70% of games have been within like 5 points, which has been awesome. Didn't trickle into this week. I think I actually had the closest game with Taylor, which was within 8 points. That's not math. That's 15 points. 15 points.
I don't think close means what you think it means,
No.
Cameron, but you are actually correct. Yeah, at about just shy of 14 points. You are the closest game, and that is actually one of the biggest gaps we've had for the close game of the week so far.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, with Trevor's high-scoring game, he outscored last year's champ by over 100 points, and just missed the league high score for this season by what was it? One point something.
1 point, yeah. And I think was Taylor.
Travis had 173. So
last week.
Yeah, but so we'll move on since generally we talk about the closest game, and since nothing was close. We'll see if we can kind of tackle everyone's holes in their rosters and see if we can move on.
Yeah, and real quick, I think that's the point. You kind of hit it on nail on the head there this last week about people not having people on their rosters and people scrambling. Case in point, Casey is going against me. I know he's up racing button willow and whatnot. He's not really paying attention, and he leaves the Patriots in, and they're not even playing.
Yeah.
So not that I think it would have mattered for him anyways, but the point is that we're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff coming up, where if it's not a COVID change like it was for the Patriots, it could be someone getting injured or having COVID or having a bye week, or I don't know, falling out with their team maybe.
We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's like I always like joke around. It's like I play fantasy football because like I can almost set it and forget it on Thursday, right? Like there's not a whole lot going on, and a lot of people.
Those were the days.
Yeah, right. And that's actually why I don't play fantasy baseball, because you're like, oh yeah, who plays today? Oh yeah, is my. I'm like, dude, that is way too much work. You got to play every day. That's ridiculous. But jumping in to this week's holes, we're looking at the Steelers. I just lost to a Steelers fan 69, our lovely Taylor, and the high scoring points of Trevor, the king of auto drafters. It's not as bad as last week, where Taylor's bench was basically bye weeks and COVID players, but now he's got 2 holes. He's got one at running back and one at wide receiver. But it looks like he's got some nice replacements on the bench.
Well, that's just it. As you say, I mean, I see 2 buys there, as you say. Jackson. I don't think that's a big loss for him out of the Chargers. That's obviously a fill-in. It's a backup. Metcalf for Seattle is a bit of a loss. The good news for him, if you look at the bench, we're looking at Adams out of Green Bay, one of the best in the business. Projected 17. That's in his favor. Melvin Gordon out of Denver swapping in. So if you plug those 2 guys in there, he's right now I'm projected. He's about 40 points to the negative. Well, that picks him up 30 right there. So maybe he gets a little bit creative, and maybe this is a little bit closer game it looks.
Yeah, and week 6 for Trevor is, once again, not going to harm him. He's got everyone in, all of his, wideout ones and RB1s. Thomas does have a bye. A
lot of double digits. A lot of double digits in the projected right now.
Yeah, and that's so far it's like projected. Mike, you tell me every week they don't mean shit. And for Trevor, it still is a warm feeling in his heart to see double digits almost across the board, except for, as I call them, his roulette players. So, but I'm thinking Taylor makes those choices and gets that game a little bit closer.
Yeah, as you say, a little bit closer, but still, the favor has to go to Trevor. I mean, he even has Mostert on his sidelines right now at 12.9 for that, and Higgins on the wide receiver front at 9.27. After you swap in the 2 buy replacements, there's not a whole lot to play for there on Steelers fans. So I'll be curious to see what Taylor is able to pull out of his pocket.
Yeah, for sure. Jumping into our next game, we got our hot streak Pope coming in, looking real nice against NSYNC's new roster of the Uno Master. He's got 4 bye weeks going on this week, and injury concerns across the board.
I think that's it. As you say, you got this love affair with it. Maybe that's what it just really. This is your gig, this NSYNC gig, this bye program. But it's 4 buys for. I mean, you might as well just take this week off. 4 buys, and you look at the bench. And to your point, McCaffrey's on IR. They're talking about looking at him this week. I don't see him coming back. You got Michelle's on IR. Even if he wasn't, it's not like that's a great pickup. And the other one's a QB and a wide receiver. So it's not looking good. We're talking about moves on moves on moves.
Yeah.
With it. Some key points: wide receiver, flex, tight end, and a kicker. Obviously, you can stream the kicker, but the rest of that, bud,
that's some sticklers. It's how long will Travis keep Christian McCaffrey on his bench? I think it's one of those
till
times.
The end of time, my
dude.
friend.
He might have to. He might come back later, but he has to get to the playoffs to use them. So that's looking rough. I don't think. I think and then Pope without a hat's got Dalvin Cook there at running back. With 0 points. I don't know if he's injured or he's questionable, but I don't think he's coming back next week. So he's got to go looking for running backs. I don't think Shady McCoy is going to be his get it done to give him a buffer at least.
Yeah, 100%. Just taking a quick gander there. He's not expected to play against the Falcons after MRA revealed sustained adductor strain. So probably not going to see Cook in the game. And to your point, yeah, McCoy probably not going to be the cat to make things happen there at Tampa Bay, as he's number 3 on the list in the running back game. So there is a bit of a hole there for Pope, but you could, and he doesn't have a running back like his T.Y. Hilton's got the wide receiver spot there for flex. So even he's going to be looking for somebody at 96 points. But I mean, when you're going to get somebody who's got half his team hanging out in Maui right now, it's not going to be the bid.
Yeah, they're a bit early for the Pro Bowl right now. So actually, in our next game, it looks a lot better, a little more equal between the Benchwarmers and Just Incredibles. Both coming
Very
off
close, actually.
Yeah, but both coming off losses, and both have buys in their schedule there. So
yeah, except for one buys a running back and the other buys
a kicker. Yeah. So
although some kickers this year have been playing a little better than the running backs. What do you know about that, buddy?
I try to optimize every position, and I think I had the highest scoring kicker last week. So
equal opportunity manager, I like to say.
Yes, but you're right, absolutely right. He's got the kicker, and he's down 10 points, so it's looking like Logan's got to plug and play a running back here. He might be able to use Fournette. He's kind of been hot and cold for Tampa Bay because they've got so many options back there, but I think he's still guaranteed 6 points. And
yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing, is that is his one and only option right now, unless he tries to go to the waiver wire or do the first trade of the season. So far, not happened in our league. Fournette against Green Bay. It's usually a high-scoring game. Fournette can get the job done a little bit, but I'll tell you what, Jones has really been the powerhouse behind the front group there. And on the other side, that's a stream. That's a stream program. Even though here's the interesting thing, is that Logan's got the 10-point lead.
Yep.
Even with that, he has the 10-point lead coming in. So, and just we're going to talk about it, about those projections. Just want to point out that Hilaire at a 14.89 has not exactly been hitting those kind of numbers the last couple of weeks.
No, and looking at Justin's team, it's still pretty strong. It just isn't. It doesn't have the lethality that the Benchwarmers does. Right. You stream a running back that he gets lucky with, and this year's kind of been like you can go for the 5th rounders, and sometimes like wide receiver 4s and 5s, and sometimes they have breakout games. I don't think you want to keep them on your roster every week, but there's still options, and if we get lucky, like it's a game changer for our league.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you kind of pointed out last time we did this, and that was what the floor is for some of these players. And I'm looking over here at the flex for Justin. He's got Adrian Peterson right in there. He's projected at 11.6. Probably not. But his floor is a pretty safe about 9 points.
For sure.
These days, that ain't too damn bad.
Especially with the lack of options we've got on the waiver wire this week, which we'll take a gander out in a minute. Let's jump into your game, though. It looks like you've set your team for next week. I've taken a quick gander. I mean, I have one spot that I had to swap out, and that was Chris Carson with Seattle. I had to swap him out. Eckler, he's on a bye, but he's also on the injury deal. He'll be on the injury deal for a while. But I do have to point out one thing, and maybe you already pick up on what I'm saying. Gaskin. How did Gaskin do? You wouldn't know. You were hanging out in Utah effing around. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, but 1760, my friend. 1760. I told you he was strong. That's a good pickup. You got to make sure the consistency is the issue here. So let's see if you can keep getting pound. They pound the rock so many times, and Fitzmagic's just ageless. The man is ageless. All right, I think he's the only quarterback in history that's thrown for 5 touchdowns in an individual game for 3 separate teams. So
fair. And to your point though, I had to move one guy around. I really do have the lineup right now with one small change, and I didn't have to go to the waiver wire to do it. On the flip side, saved by Odell, we got a buy in the running back game, tight end game, and defense game. So if we flip over here, running back, we got White. Oh, there's a 0 next to that name. I'm not sure what that's all about. It might not be updated. And Swift for Detroit and Jacksonville, but no tight end and no defense for Odell. So the question is, do you stream a Saints, or do you stream the defense, get rid of the Saints? What do you do in the tight end game? Who do you drop? Crowder's been looking pretty good. McLaurin's been all right. this is going to get a little bit interesting for Odell on this waiver wire.
Yeah, he looks like he's either going to take a L this week, or he's going to he's taking an L regardless, either on the scoreboard or on his team, because it looks like he's got to drop somebody that's going to be worth some points this week, and he's not going to be happy about it. But that's
the danger of the bye week, right?
For sure. And but it's still, I think you hold the lead in that one a little bit, and if he can play the waiver wire right and gets a little lucky, he can keep it close.
It'll be interesting too to see who drops who.
For sure. I'll be looking at the drops for the next week for sure, because it's going to be crazy with how awful it's been. But we'll jump into my game. Actually, it's going to be the little Jocelyn duo going out at it. And
one of the first times I think you have the advantage on the projections here, but do you think that's going to hold tight?
You know what? She's got a tight end on her roster with 8 points, and I don't think. And then she's got, her cream of the crop quarterbacks down. She no longer has Le'Veon Bell, so Le'Veon Bell's in there with 11 points. He doesn't have a team right now, so that's going to be updated soon. So she's got.
Bears beats beginners is a dumpster fire.
Yes,
right now.
That went nuclear on Sunday for sure. Her team actually looks like Dak Prescott's ankle. That's
too soon. I mean, she's been, and you know what? It's been going pretty good for her. Coming into this week, she was 3-1. She's now 3-2, but she's got 2 tight ends starting, plus a tight end on the bench. If there was a fifth way that she could somehow get tight ends in there, she likes tight ends, is all I'm saying.
Yes.
And unfortunately, she's got one on the bye, but to your point, you could swap Hoover in there. She could drop one if she wanted to. She does have Galladay hanging out there with a pretty decent projection, but man, oh man, you're right. Prescott out, Coleman, IR. Up here you got buyout of Cook. Bell is even playing anymore. Nobody. Yeah. Somehow he may drop into a team and they want to start him kind of like they did with Fournette over in Tampa Bay, but that was in the preseason, so yeah. I don't know, man. It doesn't look good for Bears.
No, she had 3 season-ending catastrophes happen in one weekend, and I've just got to worry about Cam Newton having COVID. So, you
could start Joe Burrow again. That worked out pretty good.
I might be headed towards the waiver wire, and I might be headed, and I have priority because I suck. So I'm actually going to think I'm going to pick up Andy Dalton. That's check number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm. By the way,
I don't know. I mean, Joe Burrow's going to get. Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm dropping Joe Burrow so you guys can have him, and I'm picking up Andy Dalton. The redheaded
your boy Matt Stafford.
He's on your bench. He's there for Derek. Okay, I'm keeping him around for Derek to use. I know Derek needs a quarterback. Derek, give me an offer. Travis, I know you love trades. I'll take it on. Justin, you have terrible options. And you already know that I'm going to be asking this, but you can also offer me something up for some Matt Stafford.
Here come the trades. You don't need a defense. You're going to at least stream one position. That's for sure.
I will. I think, I'm pretty stingy, though. I like the Chargers defense. They've been treating me pretty well this year. So
even though they're not playing at all in week 6?
I think I have a big enough lead. I might just have to, show it, make my first win with a bye week in the lineup. Depends on it, right? And I'm not that stubborn. I'm going to put on some points. Okay, I'm not going to be like Justin, who has the Jets on his there and gets negative points. So,
yeah. And I'll tell you what, look at the waiver wire real quick for you, bud. In a row, you got Packers, Giants, Titans, Washington, Cardinals. Your top 5 going against Tampa Bay, Washington, Houston, Giants, and Dallas. I'll tell you right now, Washington surprised a little bit in the beginning. Going against the Giants, that might not be too bad.
Yeah, it just depends who shows up that week, but I like that as well.
That's fair.
I like that as well. So I'm gonna be.
You're not gonna blow your number 1 waiver pick though on the defense.
No. Andy Dalton is coming home over here. All right, the redheaded man with a cannon.
You're not going Kirk Cousins?
I'm sorry.
All right. We spent more time on your game. Let's move on to the next one.
So we've got the friends going at it. We had the Jocelyn, knockout punch over there.
Yeah.
Sibling. And now we've got like the best friends coming at it with Derek and Casey. Casey, I'm begging, I'm hoping, I'm pleading just to end Derek's reign. And unfortunately, looking at the projections, Casey's got a full lineup in, and Derek doesn't. And Derek's only has 10 points differential. So I'm not stoked about this.
Although, to your point, we're talking about lineups being in. I mean, yeah, the two ones we're talking about here, it's going to be a kicker and defense streaming game for Derek, and we just got done talking about what defenses are up for grabs. It's not like it's got, it's kind of slim pickings over there for the defense. Kicker is kind of a crapshoot. I didn't even look, but I will real quick see what we got for kicker. But while I'm looking at that, if you look on the sidelines here, the bench for Derek, he's got Gurley on the running back side and Anderson on the wide receiver side. But they don't really plug in anywhere. He's already maximized his lineup. That is what he has. So I think that 100 points we see right there, you're going to see projections at about a 7 and 7 at best. So 14 points, it gives him a 114 to a 111. It's still pretty tight here. This could be another good one.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm rooting for Casey. I think Derek's rooting for Casey. I think Derek's like, I don't have to win them all. So let's see what we can do here. And kind of like the reason being is Derek's got a 2-game lead over the rest of the Better Than Netflix field. So he kind of needs to get slowed down a little bit to keep the reins in. Get that. I think we got a first round bye for the playoffs, but it's a bit early to be talking playoffs right now, especially for the Commissioner Gordon at 0-5. Yeah, let's not talk about playoffs for a bit. Let's give it a couple weeks.
You only have to be P8, my friend. You only got to be P8.
Well, talking about P8, Mike, we've got a 6-way tie for second once everything gets sorted at 3-2. So
indeed, we had about a 6-way tie for fourth coming into this weekend, or third, if you will, with the tiebreaker, with just a pair of 3-1s. But both 3-1s lost, and a good chunk of the 2-2s won. So yeah, things are getting pretty interesting. Obviously, Dirk's got a little bit of cushion coming into the close to the halfway point here. We're talking about week 6 this next week, and then we've got week 7, a proper halfway point, if you will, on a 13-week season. You got to be in the top 8. There's a lot of wiggle room, and there's a lot of question marks here about closing in the halfway point of the season.
Oh, for sure. And we'll kind of, as we get closer, and there's some crunch time games, so to speak, to say the make or breaks of it, because if Derek goes on a nice 5-game losing streak, he'll probably get put in a threatening position coming into the playoffs. And but we'll touch on that a little bit closer to the playoff times. And I will say, I just read my notes. I've just got fucking Derek versus Casey, and it makes me giggle every time.
Hey, one thing we didn't have in the notes, but I do want to just breeze through it real quick and just put a little bit of a what-if scenario coming up here as you talk about Derek being on a 5-game losing streak. What I'm looking at here, just to kind of give everybody a bit of a question mark, as we go past week 6 into week 7, the proper halfway point, start looking at those buys. I'll look at my team in of itself. I got 3 buys on my team. Who I'm going against, they got 3 buys. Look on the next one here, yourself against Captain Obvious. Actually, Captain's all right. You only got 1 buy. You guys are looking pretty good. So it's interesting how things start to line up.
But yeah, for sure, and it's kind of like, unfortunately, I'm playing everyone without buys right now, so I've got some struggle busting right now. But if I can get out of these 2 weeks, I think if I can get on my bye weeks will be limited once I think I get past week 7, and I think some of these other guys are going to struggle.
Sure. And, another big game in week 7 is going to be here for the Gangbang and Benchwarmers. 3 buys for Casey and 2 buys for the Benchwarmers, and of course participants in Saved by Odell week 7. Again, don't want to get too far ahead of us, but guess what? Basically no buys there. So to your point, some people play in the buy game, some people have to worry, some people don't. Here in week 6, it's going to be what Travis does with 4
bye weeks. Yes,
1 round.
I think he also has the most transactions on the waiver wire this year as well. So he's not, I think, and he's not going to be looking good. But on that note,
as much as we want Derek to lose, God, I'm just really excited to see what he does all the way from wire.
Yes, he'll be picking up guys on the practice squad, and he'll be like, they get points, right? Like,
Yeah.
Left bench, right bench, they get points. It's there.
Might be the best.
So, and on that note, Mike, we'll wrap it up, and hopefully we can be a little bit more competitive next week so we can talk about some close games instead of 15-point differentials and 100-point differentials. So, on that note, guys, we're looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to this week. I think it's got my best chance at a win, even though Shelby's got the third highest scoring team, which is impressive. But I'm really hoping this week we shake things up and everyone comes a bit closer.
All right.
All right.